Citizen TV, this is the Monday Report with Trevor Ombija.
Yes, that's absolutely right. Thank you so much for staying in Citizen TV and watching Monday Report. This is what's going on right now. So ODM and UDA have agreed to fast-track two things. One, the 10-point agenda, and two, the NADCO report. But the biggest question here is, what's in it for the people? That's a conversation we'll be having later on with Franklin Mukwanja, is Executive Director, CMD, that is the Center for Multi-Party Democracy. Javas Bigambo is the Vice Chairperson, ODM and UDA MOU Implementation Committee. We'll find out from them how far they are and what is the plan going forward. And Dr. Peter Mbai is a governance and leadership expert. But we'd like to hear from you, mostly at Trevor Ombija, at Citizen TV Kenya. Use their hashtag Citizen Monday Report. But before we get into all that, our top stories tonight.
A few members of your committee collected 10 million shillings so that you could pass that law on anti-money laundering. Did you get the money? So
They ate 150 million shillings. President Ruto accuses Senate of extorting governors during impeachment trials as he renews attacks on Parliament over corruption.
We apply help na scholarship. Wakaniambia ziko successful, sijajua ni ngapi wanatupea, ngapi wanalipa.
Education Cabinet Secretary Migoso Gamba assures everything is under control amid concerns from university students over school fees.
We are going to withdraw particularly the licenses for manufacturers who are using the manufacturing licenses to have other satellite businesses.
Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen now threatens a crackdown on illicit alcohol and criminal gangs in the central region. Kenya continues to celebrate Harambee Stars' exploits after qualifying for the quarterfinals of the Chan tournament. Thank you so much for tuning in. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Yula Nzale. So tonight, what was meant to be a parliamentary group meeting between allied parties in government, UDA and ODM, degenerated into a session where MPs were taken to task over accusations of rampant corruption in Parliament. President William Ruto read a riot act to MPs accusing them of turning Parliament into a den of corruption, citing an alleged extortion case. The president claiming some 150 million shillings was paid to senators as inducement to save governors from impeachment. Citizen TV's Seth Olale has the details.
Flanked by his deputy Kithure Kindiki and ODM leader Raila Odinga, President William Ruto arrived to the joint parliamentary group meeting of UDA and ODM parties and took it straight from where he left it in Homa Bay last week.
the reality, friends, the reality is that there is a problem. And we all know here, tukitaka tukusema ukweli, there is a problem.
Shooting from the hip, President Ruto shaved claws in his latest tongue-lashing of Houses of Parliament.
There are people who are destroying the credibility of Parliament. And they are collecting money in the name of Parliament.
Invoking law intelligence, President Ruto went for the Senate, accusing the House of extorting money from governors during impeachment proceedings.
The latest Sokohuru in the Senate. Where does somebody find 150 million? Where? Is that his money? That is money that belongs to the county. Yes. Is that correct or not correct? Yes.
This year alone, the three governors who have appeared in the Senate for impeachment hearings are Kericho Governor Dr. Eric Mutai, Meru's Kawira Mwangaza, who did not survive a ouster, and Isiolo Governor Abdi Guyo. President Ruto turned to the National Assembly.
Let me ask you, members of Parliament who are seated here. Do you, for example, know Munisikize vizuri. Do you, for example, know that a few members of your committee collected 10 million shillings so that you could pass that law on anti-money laundering? Did you get the money?
As the president spoke, MPs in the background demanded names of corruption suspects.
We are not going to shame them. We are going to arrest them. Yes.
In the tense session, MPs attempted to defend Parliament as more claims followed that some committees, apart from their elected chairpersons and vice chairperson, have an ex-officio member who chairs an informal welfare committee.
I thought you were saying people should reduce lobby. But you know, the people who are lobbying are from outside Parliament. They are not inside. They come here, they hover around the corridors of Parliament. It's an internationally accepted standard of parliamentary work, Your Excellency. Lobbying. This other one you have talked about is alien to us. I have never seen that one.
But lobbying is a different thing from extortion. From extortion. That you have a member, every committee has got a member who is how do you call him? Welfare bungi. Is giving a very, very image of Parliament.
For the second time in as many weeks, President Ruto has lashed out at corruption in the Houses of Parliament. And for the second time, the high-voltage claims fell short of expected details as the president declined to name his suspects. Seth Olale, Citizen TV.
ODM and UDA joint parliamentary group meeting has resolved to fast-track the implementation of the NADCO report and the 10-point agenda under the implementation matrix presented to the joint UDA-ODM parliamentary group. The committee, led by the former ODM Secretary General Agnes Zani, has been tasked to get to work immediately and deliver its final report by March 7th as the two parties mark their first MOU anniversary. Stephen Leto has the details.
As members of parliament from both UDA and ODM gathered for the first joint parliamentary group meeting, the elephant in the room was the implementation of the NADCO report that the ODM side has been pushing. The PG resolved to establish a series of timelines that will include collection of views from different stakeholders, culminating in staging of an intergenerational dialogue conference.
And we have the historic opportunity to make this country what we have always wanted it to be, but it has not been.
Let us not underestimate what the leadership of the UDA through President Ruto, the leadership of ODM through His Excellency Raila Odinga has helped us to achieve as a nation.
The team, led by former ODM Secretary General Agnes Zani, has slated a series of activities starting Monday next week. According to the implementation matrix, the team is expected to meet various stakeholders: the Prime Cabinet Secretary, the Head of Public Service and Secretary to the Cabinet, Office of the President and its Delivery Unit, the Council of Governors, and the Speakers of the Bicameral Parliament. The team has also scheduled to conduct public engagements and has set the month of October to recruit a field officers and train them as they plan to head for the countrywide public participation and a call for written memoranda through print and electronic media. Other than meeting special groups and agencies, the team will culminate the nationwide public participation with one major national public consultation forum to be hosted in the capital, Nairobi. ODM and UDA have also scheduled another joint parliamentary group meeting in December, where they will receive a progress report on the full implementation of NADCO report and the 10-point agenda.
We decided that it is better to have an imperfect country that is struggling to mend its ways than to have a collapsed one.
ODM and UDA have also planned to celebrate their first anniversary since the signing of the MOU that was inked on 7th March 2025. The one-year celebrations in March next year will entail the release of the implementation report to the public by the two principals, Raila Odinga and President William Ruto. Stephen Leto, Citizen TV.
Let's talk about education matters now. And confusion and anxiety continues to grip thousands of first-year university students and their parents as the government's recently announced review of university fees is yet to be effected. Many students remain stranded and uncertain about how much to pay, even as first-year admissions begin this week. And as Emily Chebet now reports, Education Cabinet Secretary Migos Ogamba says that the Ministry of Education has already shared the necessary data with universities, and the revised fee structures are in the process of being uploaded to individual student portals.
20-year-old Collins Barare from Isecha area, Kitutu Chache, north in Kisii County, is a confused young man. He is to join Tom Mboya University to pursue Bachelor of Education, but despite receiving an admission letter to the university, his family does not know how much tuition fee he is supposed to pay weeks after the government announced a 15 to 40% reduction of tuition.
Hata kama itakuwa ni ngapi zinalipa sina hata senti. Saa hii sijafika hata shule penye mtoto ameitwa. Nijue vile inaonekana, hata ya kulipa hostel sina.
Nili apply help na scholarship. Wakaniambia ziko successful, sijajua ni ngapi wanatupea. Saa hii advance hatujajua yenye tumekuwa replaced.
Collins, who is supposed to report to the university by 1st of September, comes from a needy family, and the lack of clarity on the revised fees and delays in release of higher education loans is taking a toll.
Sitaweza kulipa mambo ya school fees ni ngumu sana. Kama saa hii kijana anaenda kujoin, sitaweza juu kuna mwingine mwenye anafuata. Nayo fees imekosekana mpaka nimemtuma ameenda kufanya umaid huko Nairobi ndio akuje kulipa school fees.
Continuing students at the Kisii University are awaiting the revised fee structure, hoping that they will get some relief soon.
For some courses, we are seeing these changes implemented, but for several courses, a lot has not been done. So until we see that change is when we'll see that the fees have decreased.
I was paying 416,000. Okay, that's the total fee. But now I see it runs there at 300,000.
Some universities like Dedan Kimathi University of Technology in Nyeri have already issued notices to the continuing students saying they cannot provide a fee structure until the government confirms individual allocations. Education Cabinet Secretary Migos Ogamba, however, assures students that the ministry is done with the process and have since shared the necessary data with specific universities for uploading.
On Friday, the data got ready. This is now the time the feeding of that data started. And perhaps in a number of universities, that has not yet been completed. And that probably is where you're having this confusion where students are saying we are not seeing the change yet in the portals of our particular institutions or their particular student portals.
Ogamba maintains that the government is committed to ensuring the new funding model works and that no deserving student will be left behind.
Where there is an error or the information is not correct, the students will be allowed to appeal so that their fees or their issues can be reviewed. Remember, and I can't say this enough, the purpose of the student-centered model is to ensure that every student who deserves support from the government gets it. And we are determined to ensure that we carry that through.
These students are hoping that the promises made by the ministry will soon translate into actual figures on their portals to allow them plan. Emily Chebet, Citizen TV.
Now, a group of young activists from across the country converged at the Fungamano Hall in Nairobi to demand a political alternative that speaks to the needs of the youth. They are now calling for transparent, accountable and youthful leadership. As Ode Francis reports, the activists have vowed to reject any aspirant in 2027 who is not a youth or does not champion the youth agenda.
Armed with flags and protest songs, the activists gathered at Fungamano Hall in Nairobi, unified by a singular mission: to disrupt the status quo and usher in a new era of youth-led governance. Their demands go beyond symbolic representation. The group is actively exploring the formation of a youth-centric political party, though they allege systemic barriers are being erected to prevent such registration.
We will not take anything less, number one, other than your running mate, kama sio Gen Z. Hatukupei namba zetu. Number two, kama ma CS, si ma Gen Z, hatukupei namba zetu.
Despite political turbulence, the youth remain undeterred. They described this moment as a season of rage, revolution and rebirth, a painful but necessary process to deliver a new political reality.
Huu msimu wa hasira, msimu wa vita, msimu wa mapinduzi, msimu wa kubuni uongozi mbadala. Na katika zamu hii, katika shughuli hii, vijana wa Kenya ni wakunga. They're here to midwife the birth of a new political reality.
Yes.
And as expected, it's a bloody process. But we cannot run away from the maternity room, as bloody as it is.
We stand for a Kenya where leadership is based on accountability, integrity and service, not corruption, violence or betrayal.
Tunataka kufanya siasa za issues zetu kama wa Kenya. So we no longer want to hear leaders going to say, mukinichagua, political parties that we can work with. Serikali ya mama mboga, serikali ya boda boda. No.
Their vision is clear. A Kenya built on accountability, integrity and service, not corruption, violence or betrayal.
If we are good students of history, we can fool the fool who thinks they are fooling us. Seta tuwezi fanya kazi na Rigiji. Seta tuwezi fanya kazi na Matiang'i. Seta tuwezi fanya kazi na wao. Lakini ni sisi tuko mbele, wao wako nyuma yetu.
Ode Francis, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
And away from that, Chief Justice Martha Koome has condemned what she described as sustained social media onslaught aimed at tarnishing the reputation of the judicial officers and sow doubt in judicial decisions. Speaking during the 2025 Judges Colloquium themed Digital Transformation, Technology and the Law, Koome said while technology aided the judiciary, its dark side poses threat that borders on eroding judicial independence. Ayub Abdikadir has more.
Insult each other. Decrying what she labeled the downside of technology. And reliving a rather tumultuous year she and other justices of the Supreme Court had. Koome said social media has moved into theaters for unfair characterization of judicial officers, collectively painted with broad brush.
Over the last 1 year, we have witnessed a worrying and haggard trend of increased cyberbullying, targeted harassment and orchestrated online campaigns against judges and judicial officers. Social media platforms, while serving as important spaces for dialogue and information sharing, have unfortunately become arenas where the dignity of judges and judicial officers are undermined.
The Chief Justice said the well-choreographed social media postings are tailored to undermine the moral authority of the judiciary.
If left unchecked, this culture of digital intimidation risks creating a chilling effect where we judges feel pressured to decide cases in line with political expediency or wishes of certain private and commercial interests that, dear colleagues, is the greatest threat to judicial independence in our time.
Lawyers Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi, Gibson Kamau Kuria and Nelson Harvey, the trio, all former Law Society of Kenya presidents, called for Koome's resignation in 2024, accusing her of failing to arrest widespread corruption in the judiciary. Harvey and his law teacher Ahmed Nasir have since sustained a social media campaign Koome says equals cyberbullying.
Independence is not only about freedom from external control, but also about the ability of us judges to carry out our duty without fear of reprisals, whether physical, political, or digital attacks.
The Chief Justice added, the UN's Special Rapporteur on the independence of judges and lawyers whose visit to Kenya will be facilitated by the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, will undertake a fact-finding mission following a United Nations warning of a rising wave of cyber attacks directed at the judiciary. Ayub Abdikadir, Citizen TV.
Now, sorrow and confusion has gripped Alwala village in Seme sub-county, that's in Kisumu County, after police officers shot a bar owner in what was reported as a case of mistaken identity. Eyewitnesses say the deceased, Felix Oluweru, was shot twice by police officers who had gone to lay an ambush. According to the area chief, the manager made a distress call to the police, claiming that some suspects were hiding behind the premises, not knowing that it was the bar owner who had laid an ambush for the suspected thugs. Officers from IPOA visited the scene of the incident, collected spent cartridges and recorded statements as investigations commenced. The body of the deceased is lying at Kombewa Sub-County Hospital mortuary.
So I'm here.
Ndio maskari walitokea kando. Fika hivi hada maskari wa kuulizia. Ifika tuna na kurusha risasi juu na kupiga mzee.
We had a gunshot. But on my way when I had a gunshot. So they were saying they shoot on the air to disperse those people. And by the time these people were, each and everybody was now trying to escape. They are saying one person remained there without even moving and started moving towards where the officer was. And this person had a panga because I found the officers with that panga.
Still on security matters now, the government is tonight raising an alarm of a resurgence of criminal gangs in central Kenya. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen, who kicked off the Central Kenya Jukwaa la Usalama in Kiambu County, accuses politicians from the region of being behind the funding of the gangs in an effort to destabilize government, as was witnessed in June and July when government installations were torched and businesses ransacked. As Kamau Mwangi now reports, the government has also begun a 100-day crackdown on liquor manufacturers suspected of being behind the return of illicit and counterfeit liquor in the region.
The torching of police stations, law courts, as well as what looked like coordinated attacks on businesses in central Kenya during the last two demonstrations witnessed in June and July this year has kept the government on high alert.
We have a shortage of stores.
Interior and National Administration Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen, who presided over the 29th edition of the Jukwaa la Usalama in Kiambu County, said the events gave all indications of the resurgence of well-organized and funded criminal gangs.
They are thriving because of political influence. Those who are harassing business people, extorting from them, extorting from matatu owners, extorting from small businesses. These criminal gangs are of late seeking cover around political activities.
The CS says the gangs, if allowed to operate, will plunge the country into what Haiti is today, and warned those linked to the group that the government was zeroing on them.
I really beg you, if you play around with these politics and I see some people coming to have justification. There is no justification for having a parallel system of government where people are collecting taxes, where people are not sleeping in the house, where people are being intimidated, where somebody who has not worked on anything is taking revenue from somebody who has done his job. We have to be ruthless and we have to be serious in dealing with these gangs.
And as the Jukwaa la Usalama heads to Murang'a County on Tuesday, the Interior Ministry is sounding a warning to licensed alcohol manufacturers who are said to be on the business of producing second-generation liquor through satellite factories that their licenses will be revoked.
We are going to withdraw particularly the licenses for manufacturers who are using the manufacturing licenses to have other satellite businesses, manufacturing centers, especially in slums, in places like Kikuyu or Kiambu here and Thika.
To nip the emerging trend, Murkomen says the government has embarked on a 100-day clampdown of the businesses in which senior national government officials their county colleagues, national administration officers and members of the National Police Service who are involved will not be spared.
We have been told
Kamau Mwangi, Citizen TV.
All right, and then we'll take a quick break here on the Monday Report. When we come back, we'll have a conversation, but right after taking you through a couple of stories. Also, we featured a story about the 20-year-old Collins Barare from Iseche area in Kitutu Chache North in Kisii County, who was struggling to pay his school fees through university. An anonymous friend has said that he will sponsor his entire course on education. We appreciate you and we're grateful for that offer. Also, later on, we'll have a conversation between Franklin Mukwanja, EDCMD, that is Executive Director, Center for Multi-Party Democracy, Javas Bigambo, Vice Chair, ODM UDA MOU Implementation Committee, and Dr. Peter Mbaye, Governance and Leadership Expert. Why? Because now ODM and UDA have agreed to fast-track 2 documents. One, the 10-point agenda MOU that was signed between the 2 parties, and the other one, the NADCO report. So we'll find out what's in it for the people. Are they now going to merge both documents? What is the likely outcome? We'll find all that from the guests who will be in studio. Send in your views at Trevor Mbidi at Citizen TV Kenya. Use the hashtag Citizen Monday Report. See you in just a bit. And coming up Thursday, it is DCP party prepares for the return of former DP Rigathi Gachagua from the United States. Welcome back. So the management of the Nairobi Hospital has suspended the implementation of the new hiked prices in order to allow for negotiations with the medical insurance firms. Board Chairman Bastley Onyambu said that the move will also allow the health facilities to hold further talks with various stakeholders with a view to providing high-quality medical care to patients.
This is our plea as an institution, that we want to make healthcare accessible, especially when we have promised people that we are going to make it accessible for you. That when we have done that, we want to make it accessible to anyone who would require that kind of health care.
As we speak, we only have rates that we had prior to the adjustment. So I think it's important that is understood. We don't have new rates. We have rates that we've been using for the last 2 years. Those are the rates that are now applicable as we speak. So anybody who is coming to our facility, there are no new rates. We are using rates that they've been enjoying for the last 2 years.
Let's talk about politics now. In the Democracy for the Citizens Party, DCP, is now petitioning the United Nations General Assembly to bar President William Ruto from addressing the 80th session of the forum in September of alleged gross violation of human rights committed by the country's security agencies against protesters. Speaking during a press briefing at the party's headquarters in Nairobi, interim deputy party leader Cleophas Malala also said that there are plans to disrupt the planned homecoming rally for party leader Rigathi Gachagua mid this week.
Innocent citizens have died at the hands of security forces with no accountability from the Kenyan government. The UN Charter, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and the multiple treaties Kenya is a signatory to all demand protection of fundamental freedoms. Yet, the President of Kenya seeks to parade himself as a statesman before the international community, while his regime is guilty of bloodshed at home. We therefore join the young people of Kenya in petitioning the United Nations not to grant Mr. William Ruto the honor of addressing the upcoming convention.
I&M Group records 34% rise in half-year profit before tax with no dividends announced for shareholders.
Business News, brought to you by Definite Assurance. We've got you covered. Fast claims settlement, PSV, private and commercial vehicle insurance. Visit definiteassurance.com. Definite Assurance. You are definitely covered. Uko nao.
Time for Business News 9. Kenya has begun high-level trade discussions with the United States as it seeks to secure market access beyond the expiry of the African Growth and Opportunity Act, that is AGOA, in 2025. A delegation from the Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry, led by Cabinet Secretary Lee Kinyanjui and Trade Principal Secretary Regina Ombam, is in Washington, D.C. for a 3-day working tour. The delegation will meet senior U.S. trade officials and the American private sector through the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Talks are focused on long-term trade and investment relations, including tariff measures affecting Kenya exports. This at a time when companies in the U.S. have demonstrated growing interest in Kenya, reflecting its role as a key entry point to the African market. I&M Bank has posted a 36% rise in its net earnings for the first half of the year, with the lender posting a profit after tax of 8.3 billion shillings. This, they say, has been boosted by strong growth in revenue, with its primary market, Kenya, posting a 21% revenue growth year on year, with significant contribution from other businesses such as bank assurance and wealth management. Jimmy Mbogo has more.
For the first half of 2025, I&M Bank has seen significant growth, with the lender posting a 21% growth in income to stand at 27.4 billion shillings. This comes from customer deposits, which saw a 2% growth to 429 billion shillings, allowing the bank to disperse 290 billion shillings in loan, representing a 2% growth. The bank further saw a 21% growth in operating income to stand at 27.4 billion shillings, with the lender attributing the growth to a decline in the cost of funds. These factors led to a growth in profitability.
Really commendable in just the space of 1 year. NPS is holding up even despite that growth, and digitally active customers have actually ticked up to 86%. These customers that we are acquiring are also bringing in significant revenue and are now contributing 24% of our revenue.
What's also very pleasing is our wealth management business. You can see our assets under management for I&M Capital have increased massively year over year. We have 70 billion of assets under management. I think we're one of the leading wealth management houses now in Kenya. Our customer base as well has increased significantly for our wealth management business, which is...
The bank, however, saw a decline in its loan book in Kenya, an issue that has been blamed on the macroeconomic environment in the country, with the bank's stock of bad debt declining from 12.3% to 11.8%, reflecting a 50 basis point reduction.
If you take the trending from 2023 to where we are today, our gross NPL in 2023 was 13.6%. Our net NPL was 6.8%. That means we had 50% coverage. Yeah, we take the same numbers in 2024, this time last year, we had improved that coverage from 50 to 57. We take the same number this year, we've improved again to about 66. So we are very well provided for our NPLs.
Despite the performance, the bank did not declare its interim dividend, noting that the board decision is yet to be made, even as the leadership hinted at a possibility of there being none, arguing for more disciplined capital planning. Jimmy Mbogo, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Indian security technology manufacturer Coffee has expanded into Kenya through a strategic partnership with the local firm DOC. The collaboration will see the rollout of Coffee's advanced security solutions, which feature ultra-high definition imaging and AI-powered monitoring systems. The move will see the introduction of innovative technologies tailored to Kenya's growing security needs. Industry players have termed the partnership a step forward in strengthening the country's safety infrastructure by offering intelligent solutions for homes, businesses, and critical installations.
Some of the specifications that they will outline regarding what they have.
Available technologies to be also available to our Kenyan citizens and in the future to our East African nationals.
We are having different innovative products that can solve the problems of the
peoples of Kenya, whether it is in the CCTV industry, security industry, or connectivity in the internet. We are here for more connections, and we are here to grow and grow together with the Kenyan people. We want to invest here. We want to do business here.
Demand for leather products remains high in Kenya, with more entrepreneurs now venturing into the leather business to fill the gap. Gonzala Leather is one such venture, making different products from leather sourced from local tanneries. As Edward Chua now tells us the story in our Made in Kenya segment.
At his workshop on Ngong Road, Gabriel Anzala and his team are busy working on a client order. This is Gonzala Leather, Anzala's venture making different leather products.
I started this way back in 2008 with a sole purpose of serving those people who needed custom-made stuff, those people who really needed to be part of the designing. First, we started with just leather goods, bags, belts, wallets, things like that. And then around 2018, around there, 2019, we got into furniture, where we do couches, we do camping chairs, things that we work with interior designers.
The process starts with sourcing the leather from different tanneries in the country. Anzala has developed different designs, which his team uses to make the different products.
When the client chooses the leather, we know now the tannery to source from. We use the templates, the patterns to place, we cut it. After cutting, we do assembling. After that, we stitch, and then after that, we do finishing, pack, and we deliver.
Gonzala Leather targets corporates as their main clients, and as Anzala says, they remain competitive by customizing products to customers' tastes and preferences.
We put measures such that when a client orders something today, it's a custom-made product, yes, but in 2 days they will have their product. We also make sure that the leather we're using, it's quality. Because of my years that I've been in the industry, we also don't compromise on the accessories that we use.
Anzala leverages social media to sell his products to the target market, but also depends on referrals for more customers.
We have a page on Instagram, Gonzala Leathers _ on Facebook, same Gonzala Leathers. Referrals, that's another big market for us, yeah, because what we do, we are well known. Yeah. They range from as low as 200 shillings, that's a key holder, all the way to almost 500,000. That's like a 7-seater leather couch.
Gonzala Leather has also churned out other leather entrepreneurs by offering training and incubation as part of its plan to grow the leather industry.
All my staff, we train them from here. I just train them in one section. If it's cutting, we just train them in cutting. So now they'll start from there. They will be cutting as an employee, and then in the process, I'll teach them all other things.
Anzala says he looks forward to expanding the business and making new products, among them shoes.
We'll be doing school shoes, we'll be doing men's shoes, and then we'll also be doing sandals. So we have the 3 items ready. We're just waiting to launch them in a month or 2.
Edward Chua, Made in Kenya, Citizen TV.
Business News. Brought to you. Sports 9 KCB rugby team will head to the Embu Sevens tournament, top of the standings after winning their second tournament in 3 finals. After a nervous 21-19 win over hosts Kenya Harlequins in the semi-finals, KCB made light work of Oilers, hammering them 19-5 to win the Christie Sevens. With 2 wins and a finals appearance in all 3 tournaments, KCB are now top of the standings in the National Sevens Rugby Series. KCB will be in Pool A in Embu alongside Daystar and Mwamba. Pool B has Strathmore Impala and Cabras, while Oilers will face Nakuru RFC in Nakuru Derby in Pool C that also has Nondes. KCB will once again turn to Christie Sevens' most valuable player, Floyd Wabwire, in Embu. Wabwire was also the top try scorer at Christie's with 8 tries.
We took every game as a final, of which he may come down to it. So spirit ya team, kila mtu alikuwa anajua kitu tunadai na tumeifaitia mpaka mwisho. Heading into Embu, there's nothing different from this. We are going to take everything. That's our goal.
Now, Greg Snow once again underlined his champion credentials with a score of 16 under par to win the Kipipiri leg of the Professional Golfers of Kenya Equator Tour Series tournament. Snow won all 4 legs of the competition held at the Mount Kipipiri Golf and Resort Club, Njoroge Kibugu, securing second place in a field stacked with elite players. Amateur golfer Adel Balala was impressive in finishing third with a score of 10 under par. Dismas Indiza and Daniel Duva tied for fourth at 9 under par. The PGK Equator Tour is the pathway to the magical Kenya Open and forms the spine of the road to the Olympics 2028.